I hope you guys are doing well. I hope this video finds you well. So without further ado, I feel that the energy for this reading is really about, you know, changes coming in at the very last minute. Okay, so I do sense some really major changes coming into the picture for you. And I feel like the message I'm getting is sooner than expected, but then at the same time, it's like very last minute, very unexpected. So that's what I'm getting, and it's kind of a contradiction. So let me just explain. I'm feeling almost like there's something that you have been thinking about, trying to manifest for a very long time. And I feel like for many of you, might be 2 years, you know, the past 2 years, you're just like, I'm waiting around for it. And you're not one to, you know, sit around idle and wait for the tides of change to come swooping in. You guys are very, you know, productive. And you guys are quite like busybody. You like to stay productive. You like to be efficient with your time. So it's not like you're sitting there mulling around waiting for things to come in. So on the one hand, it's always, you know, on the forefront of your mind that you want to implement something. You want to change something. You want to do a drastic move or something very, very, I want to say like, it's like a change that is quite drastic for a Virgo. It's quite a drastic change, okay? Because you guys are still creature of habits. But I feel like you've been mulling over a situation for a very long time. And so it's always on the back of your mind. It's also, on some days, it's on the forefront of your mind. And so I feel like you've been waiting for the opportunity or the chance encounter or something to manifest itself. And so I feel like even though you've been waiting for it for a long time, the way that it comes in, it's like when you've given up hope or when you just like kind of clear it or maybe even move it from the forefront of your mind into the back of your mind and focus on other things and, you know, finding enjoyment and still moving on with your life. That's when this major drastic change is going to come in. And so it's coming in at a very, I want to say opportune moment, but also very unexpectedly. Okay. So that's what I'm seeing. I saw 2 images for you, and I feel like the first image is definitely in relations to your love life. The second image is other things that are, you know, that it might have to do with this change. So let me just relay the first information first, and then we'll talk about the 4 cards, because it seems like the reading is split this way. So first of all, I see this man. He's wearing a coat. It's like autumn. He's at a park. It looks like Central Park. It looks outdoorsy. Lots of people around, but not so much that it's crowded. There are a few pigeons on the ground. And he's wearing like a brown coat. He looks very handsome. Like he's, you know, probably 35, 40 at the latest. And he has like a little Ziploc bag of like breadcrumbs. And so he's kind of casting it onto the ground and the pigeons are like pecking at it. And so he's doing this. He's in a very calm state, but he's thinking about somebody. Okay. It looks to me like, you know, he's on his lunch break, taking a walk, feeding the pigeons, or maybe he finished a sandwich and there are breadcrumbs in that bag. So he's feeding the pigeons. But either way, he looks like he's in an office type of a work environment because he's dressed like, you know, loafers and slacks and a shirt without a tie and a brown coat, like a brown trench coat. And so he's thinking about somebody else. He's thinking about somebody. And so the scene kind of splits in half, and there's another image. While he's feeding, there's another image of a woman. She's really pretty. She has blonde hair, and she has a mole, a very distinct mole on the bottom, I want to say right. Yeah, it would be the bottom right side of her chin. You know, like it's a small speckled mole, but it's very distinct for some reason. She has like red pinkish lipstick on. She's in the kitchen. She's wearing an apron. She has blonde hair. She's very young, like probably around the same age. She's cooking a pot of soup. So a really big pot of soup. And she's tasting it from a ladle, and she's adding a little bit more seasoning, salt, pepper, whatever it is. And then she turns off the stove, like it's ready, so she turns it off. And she's looking at the stove, then she looks at her living room, and she's alone, in this house, in her space. And she's kind of thinking like, this is such a big pot of soup. I wish that other person were here to enjoy this food with me. So it seems like there is a situation where the two of you might have been broken up. I do see, the split scene as in two people that miss each other, that long for each other's company, that's heavily thinking about one another. That's like the whole concept about sharing food, cooking for one another, I guess connecting through food. It seems very nurturing. It seems like it might have been a relationship where there's a lot of community, there's a lot of caring, there's a lot of tenderness, there's a lot of mutual affection, and it's not like you wouldn't eat and cook for somebody you don't like, right? So I feel like in a way the relationship that the two people have had in the past might have been, they might have shared space together. They might have lived together. They might have been married. They might have dated for a very long period of time where they're comfortable around each other and they care for each other. So whatever the situation is, there might have been a situation where two people have broken up and they're still longing to reconnect. Okay, so I feel like for majority of you, that might be the situation, because he's on the park bench eating lunch, possibly by himself, and then feeding the birds. Like he wants somebody to share that experience with him. And then she's cooking this big pot of soup, and she's alone in the house, and she's thinking like, I wish that person were here to share this soup with me. So it makes me feel a little bit sad, but at the same time, I just feel like both people are very content. They're going through the motions. They're still able to take care of themselves. So even if it was like a breakup or a situation where one person is no longer in the other person's life goes on. Like two people are still resuming their life. They miss each other once in a while. They're nostalgic for the past, and they miss that sense of companionship, I feel. There's definitely a sense of companionship. But life goes on. No one is heartbroken and devastated and unable to function. Both parties are still able to function. Give me just 1 second. I apologize. Sorry about that. I was making tea and the water boiled, so I had to turn it off. Going back to that image that I saw, I feel for many of you, the fact that these two people are, in different places, like there might be like geographical distance, and the fact that they're heavily thinking about each other denotes to me like a really strong soul connection. Okay. And it's depicted here. I have the Two of Cups. This is the sense of companionship. Okay. The Cups energy deals with like emotions and also spiritual energy, where two people feel very, very connected. Okay. When they think about you, they're thinking about you, and it's sort of like, feeds into this loop where you end up reverting to, thinking about them, and vice versa. So it's a situation where two people are very, very deeply connected, really care about each other. There might be great compatibility as well. Really great compatibility between two people. So for you, especially if you're in a long distance relationship, I feel like there is an immense sense of longing, wanting to be together, wanting to connect, wanting to, share the experience with another person. And then I also feel for others, there might have been a situation where it's like distance, like admiring somebody from a distance is what I'm seeing. I have here the Hermit, and the Hermit is a lonesome card. It doesn't mean loneliness. It seems to mean like some type of remote viewing, some type of like distance associated with you and another person. And this combination, the Hermit and the Nine of Pentacles, admiring somebody from afar, admiring somebody's beauty, admiring the way that they look, and yet being so shy or so hesitant about letting them know how you feel about them. Okay, so if you're geographically distant from the person that is, you know, really occupying a lot of your thoughts, and you're thinking heavily about them, I feel like they are definitely also thinking about you. And then I also feel, you know, with Virgos are deeply shy by nature. And so I do sense that some of you might have somebody that you're really admiring from afar. You know, you're like wanting to touch them, wanting to talk to them, wanting to communicate, wanting to really tell them how you feel. But in a way, your feelings for this person scares you. You like to be in control of your emotions. You're also very rational. And I've mentioned this before, but Virgoing people don't fall in love. Like, love at first sight is not a thing for you guys. You can date somebody for a very long time, but if you haven't, you know, made up in your mind that you're in love with this person, you might never fall in love with the person. So I feel like, you know, you're very sensible and just like even keel and level-headed when it comes to relationships, when it comes to love, when it comes to emotional expression. And so I feel like you're feeling this wave of emotions overcoming you, and you kind of, you know, shrug it off or cast it aside. And you're like, that's not rational. I barely know this person. It's not rational, you know, to like be head over heels and fall in love with someone when I barely know them. So I feel like you have someone that you're really admiring. You really like this person. They're very independent. I'm getting a feeling of like somebody who might be, let me see, like somebody who's quite exotic, who you know, there's something unique about them. So the woman with the mole on her face, it's coming out, it's near her chin. So like, I feel like you're dealing with someone who's not stereotypically like, it's not somebody that everyone would consider like classically beautiful or classically handsome. But for whatever reason, there's something about them. They have charisma, they have stage presence, they have magnetism. There's something that makes them very unique, and other people cannot help but stare at them twice. You know how there are some people, they're not classically handsome or beautiful by any stretch of the imagination, but there's something about them that's very alluring. And I feel like it has a lot to do with their confidence, the way they carry themselves, the way they carry themselves. Okay, this is a Nine of Pentacles, very independent, self-sufficient, bold. It's somebody who is like, on the one hand, they can be very earthy, very easygoing, not high maintenance. You won't catch them, you know, dressed to the T and like with full makeup on, or, you know, cologne and hairspray and grease in their hair or whatever. Like, they're not made up. They're just understatedly like just confident and put together without trying so hard. It's somebody that does everything with such grace and such ease. And I feel like because of that, a lot of people are very drawn to them. And then I also, going back to what I mentioned before, a lot of Virgo people, you guys are really deeply very shy. You do get stage fright. You don't like to be on center stage. You don't like to have a lot of attention on you. You feel a little bit out of place. And for some of you, Some of you, okay, please don't get offended. You might feel a little bit, socially awkward in probably a social setting or in a setting where you don't know a lot of people. You might feel very socially awkward when you have to give a speech, give a talk, when you're speaking and everyone is staring at you. Like you don't like that attention. And so you admire this person for the bold and I guess like the confident way in which they move through life, the ease in which they do everything, and the ease in which things just magically work out for this person. So I feel like you really deeply admire this person. And you might be admiring them from afar. And I feel like for some of you, they are also feeling that way about you. But I feel that the gravity of your feelings for them, it's overwhelming you. Like you're kind of dumbfounded about like, I don't believe in love at first sight. Why do I feel so strongly about this person when I barely know them? There's a little bit of intrigue and mystery here. And it's like you might not know a lot about them. They might not know a lot about you. You might see each other casually in passing, and you might feel like, wow, that would be a really good person for me to date or for me to have as a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And I do sense like they have no idea how you feel. And so, trying to make conversation, making small talk. Virgos don't really like that, but like making small talk and trying to get into their inner circle and trying to, I'm hearing infiltrate, trying to like get one leg in the door. Okay. I feel like that might be a really good first step because they might not have an idea as to how strongly you feel about them. And you're kind of scared of the impact that they are having on you. All right. So let me just, that's for like singles. I feel like there's someone who's really capturing your imagination, and I'm just feeling like you're tongue-tied and nervous, and you get flustered and you might flush and turn red when they're around or when you think about them, because I feel like your desire for them and your feelings for them can be a little bit overwhelming. Okay, so that's for singles. I'm feeling as if for those who are in a relationship, okay, if you're together with somebody, you and your partner have like you're kind of like at a major crossroads, not because of the relationship, but you're planning to make some major moves, okay? Make some major moves. And I feel like for some of you, we have here the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles is about juggling jobs, juggling responsibilities, trying to figure out, do I stay here where it's stable or do I go somewhere else? And I feel like this decision, you're trying to think of it. It's like it doesn't exist in a vacuum. You're not making this decision alone. There's inputs from your partner. There's considerations from your partner that's like coming into the picture. And so like you're trying to make all the pieces fit. Okay. And that's going to become a little bit more apparent when I talk about the next image that I see. Make all the picture, like the pieces fit together so that you can, implement some type of a plan. So there's a lot of mulling over. There's a lot of communication. And then I also feel as well, there's a sense of like temptation. Okay. You might be in one relationship and you're captivated by another person. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of like earth and water. So like another earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, and water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. So you might be in a relationship with one of those signs, and then you're like fascinated or interested in another person. Okay, and so you're trying to,